What's going on, Star Wars fans?
Hello there.
We are here. It is Wednesday, and I'm going to start off this podcast like this.
The only way we should start every podcast.
Wednesday, yes. Dave, who loves Star Wars, is on here. You are not alone, my friend. Evie's 7:30. Evie. I know Max and Jarvo were here earlier. Thank you guys for all jumping on. Mike's going to be a little bit late, but he will be here. Nick and Derek are here with us tonight. We have a bunch to go through in reference to some new show with some red and black villain or something, right? Something like that.
Some show of a thing.
Yeah. But in reference to that, I'm going to get to I'll just show it to you. So we got number 2. No spoilers. So, but if you guys haven't gotten it yet, you definitely need to get it. Let me know in the chat here. Does anybody have the first or today's edition of these comics besides Derek and me? Jessica's on there. Hello, Jessica.
Hey, Mom.
So, but I wanted to start, as you guys all know, before we get into all the Maul stuff, that's pretty crazy. But I'm a collector of pretty much everything Star Wars. And today, Jacob, that my son stopped by, and he had something that he brought for me, which I thought was really cool, that I don't have, and I don't play the games, but he had the game, but he also had the box. And this is a really cool box for PlayStation 2.
That's awesome.
Okay, so that's pretty neat. Okay, that goes like that. But the other thing, which is really cool, it comes with a Luke with blue milk.
Oh my god!
And he's got blue around his mouth. It's pretty cool. It's it's pretty neat. And I don't have that, and I don't do Legos either, but that's freaking awesome. So welcome everyone.
You don't do Legos. That's crazy to me.
Sorry, I know it is. I get it. Oh snap! Evie said, "Oh snap!" I get it. Who else? Brett's on here. Nathan, welcome. Appreciate you guys all coming up here and joining us. Maul Shadow Lord, episodes 1 and 2. I know I saw a bunch of you guys on there with the live stream for Mike. Sunday morning, Tuesday, or I guess Sunday night, Monday morning. Just phenomenal. I can't wait. Again, like Mike said, that post that he put up, I don't know if you guys saw that. He was just glorifying it. It was like the only complaint was that it wasn't long enough.
Yeah.
But we get the animation does, obviously it is shorter than like Andor and Mandalorian and things like that. But again, I think we could all sit through, 2 40-minute episodes of animation. And that's my gripe is, it's like, whenever they show the runtime or the time, you got to add like 5 to 7 minutes for credits, which I'm like, just scroll faster and give us like an extra 5 minutes.
Right. Or like, how much more if you took out some of that animation? Like, that's probably going to be easy stuff, right?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Here we are complaining. We want more. We want more.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good complaint to have, honestly, that it's,
yeah,
too short, that we want more, but we'll get more.
It's pretty awesome. Is that your, did you link this with your stream too, Derek?
I think so. Maybe.
Okay. Yeah, I saw it up here. So,
okay.
So cool. Well, welcome everyone in the chat. I would love to hear from 1 to 10 what you guys think of this new Maul series. And maybe Derek, if you want to put up a poll, I'd like to know, again, was it 1 to, however you want to break it up, 1 to 3, 4 to 7, 8 to 10, something like that. But yeah, Evie with a 9. I love that. Mine actually was, and we'll talk more about this, but the 3 of us are here because everybody's probably already heard Mike's experience and what he thinks. So, but mine was I was about an 8.5. I do think that episode 1 was a little bit better than episode 2. Again, if you guys haven't seen it, I put a short out with Derek's explanation last week. He's been such a good prediction guy, which
I'm
is
getting there.
cool. Yeah, and so go check that out over. I think it's on all the platforms, but it was just that 30-second thing where he was talking about, it was going to sort of start out. We might be a little bit confused, but we're going to get into it, and it's sort of like Andor, where you're really not sure what's going on. It's a little, I don't know what's this character going to do or what's that, and then again it keeps going. So I thought that was a really good explanation. Max was probably the lowest score that I've seen, which is pretty funny.
Oh, Max. I mean, that doesn't surprise me with Max, but we still love you.
Oh yeah. Know what you did there, Max.
Darth Plagueis lives with 12 out of 10. That's awesome. Brett put a 7.49841. Love that. So what about you guys? Derek, what's your ranking 1 to 10?
Okay, so I said a solid 8, and I said an 8 because of it being shorter. And I don't hate that they're shorter. Well, I want more. I want more. Oh, I'm such a complainer. No, as far as the content in them in animation, it's a 9.5. It was just so hard to watch those 2 episodes and be so hyped for it and then have to wait. So as the season goes on, I guarantee that my number is going to go up even for the first 2 episodes. I've watched them 4 times. I know some of you guys have watched more, but I'm really thinking that by the time the season's over, the first 2 episodes will probably go up to like a 9.5.
Yeah. I think it's definitely going to go up. So, and there's Mike, but we'll get your Nick. We'll get your score on that. Welcome, Michael. Appreciate you joining us.
Hello there.
So we're going through, and that's why we sort of started a little bit early on the Maul, because probably everybody here already knows what your score is, and we'll let you talk about it. But Nick's up 1 to 10 on the first 2 episodes.
Yeah, apologies in advance. I have what we call in the business the sniffles. I will say, just as a caveat, like Derek kind of alluded to, I probably have a different approach for animation than I do live action. They just kind of hit different. I'm at an 8 or a 9, probably closer to 9, because I don't honestly think it hit me that it was too short. I was just so locked in that it was just over, and maybe it is too short, but I was kind of locked in the whole time, and then it was over. And I loved it. I love that, as Derek predicted, we just start kicking ass right away. We're in it.
What's
I'm
the
sure
death
we'll talk more about it. A lot, probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it got right into it. I really like, we can talk about this later, I kind of like the way that we're building this show, as far as like a way to bridge freaks like us with like the more general audience, which we can get into later. But I think my ranking, strictly for like animated shows and in comparison, like I was more locked into this debut than I was the Bad Batch, and I loved the Bad Batch's first episode. So I gotta say an animation 9 for me.
Nice. Mike, you want to step up to the mic, so to speak?
Yes, I would love to. Yeah, no. The first 2, I agree with Ron. I think the first episode is slightly better than the second, but I'm about I gave the first one an 8.8 and the second one an 8.5. They're still very, very great episodes, but I think what we're all anticipating is this show gets even better from here. I know the first 2 episodes were a great start. It was a perfect introduction to all these brand new characters like Brander Lawson, our new Underworld guys, and even Spybot, who's my personal favorite character already. Great introduction to all of them. But the coolest part about these first 2 episodes were the way that they reintroduced Maul, I guess, because nobody says his name until the last line of the first episode. And it's when Devin Izara looks at him and goes, Maul. And Sam Witwer told us before the show began that you won't have to watch anything else in Star Wars before seeing this show. And I was like, that sounds absolutely insane. How is that even possible? And here we are. I mean, they did it so well that the Shadow Collective, the Pikes, the Black Sun, the Crimson Dawn, all of it is explained in 2 episodes. The runtime, you can complain about it all you want, but they explain everything. They explain it because we're kind of going through the perspective of Brandon Lawson in the first 2 episodes, but they do it in a very, very cool way. So I'm around a high 8s out of 10. High 8s. Yeah.
Nice. So I do want to say it's funny that Evie picked up on that. Evie picked up on Nick's,
Look at this collection.
On Nick's collection. But we have a little surprise. So he's hanging out here with me tonight.
What's up, everybody?
So
I appreciate that you think I have taste like that, though. Very nice of you.
He's get, you know, you got to get there. You got a few
Yeah.
more years to
Yeah.
do a little collecting. So it should be it should be fun as I'm getting everything sort of arranged here throughout the next few weeks. We'll be fixing the background up and stuff, and we have a really cool spot that we're going to do for, like, if Mike comes to town or if Derek comes back to town, we can all sit around like a cool little round table and have each have our cameras and microphones. So it'll be really cool with a different Star Wars background at each person. So
It's really interesting. We each have our own rectangle box in here that we can all sit in and film with one camera. It's like the Brady Bunch.
So nice.
That's awesome.
And speaking of microphones, we are all on our matching SE Dynacaster microphones. So thank you to our friends at SE for sending us these microphones. We love you guys, and Tony over at SE, and you know they're incredible. Listen to these things; that we sound so professional.
they sound good for sure. So yeah, the Maul series, I mean, again, it's just like Mike said, it's just going to get better, and I think we're going to see some different things, and we'll get into predictions, and we'll get into some characters and stuff in a little bit here. But my thing was with the whole, and that was my thing with the thumbnail today. You know, what's the hype? And it's gone through the roof. And the Rotten Tomatoes thing is incredible. I love it. My biggest thing with that, and me and Nick were talking a little bit about this before we got on, is, and it doesn't piss me off. It just upsets me a little bit that you can go from that, which I think is awesome. I love that Maul's getting 100, but when we had the Acolyte come out, it got what, a 13%, Mike, I think, and it just like, how does it go from that to that? Because I think you guys would agree, maybe it's not as great as the Acolyte, or I mean, Maul isn't, the Acolyte wasn't as great as Maul is probably going to be by the end.
Yeah.
But it was a fantastic show. And I know we're 13 minutes in and already talking about the Acolyte, but it's just crazy to me that we're at 100% for Maul and they only gave the Acolyte 13. So,
yeah, I mean, well, I just think that if Maul was live action, and it's funny because in all the trailers, in the comment section, people are like, oh, this is animated. Oh, I thought it was going to be live action. This stinks, blah, blah, blah. But if it was live action, we probably, maybe not, but most likely, we probably would have got a reaction like Kenobi or a Book of Boba Fett or The Acolyte, where fans would have just revolted against the show without having even seen it, of course, without having any actual fact to back any of their complaints. But I think the cool part about Maul is that it's animated. And obviously we can talk about how great the animation looks, but whenever something from Star Wars comes out that is animated, it's really, I guess, the hardcore fans, if you want to call them that, that watch it. So it has a 100 on Rotten Tomatoes. Sure, the critics like it, but the audience score is a 96. And that wouldn't happen, I don't think, if it was a live action show.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that stinks because, like we said, that the Acolyte was fantastic, and they did a great job with it, and it sort of got shit on, for lack of better words. And season 2 would have been fantastic, and hopefully we'll get some explanations and Plagueis and some different things. Again, with the Stranger, what a great character. Hopefully, we'll get some more of him. So back to Maul. Sorry, I digress.
Oh, what Maul? Who's that?
So
Some guy.
yeah,
I did just see Maul Shadow Lord on my other screen here. Maul Shadow Lord is trending #1 on Disney Plus in 51 different countries. So talk about a great opening couple days here. This was from a couple hours ago. So as of today, Wednesday, 2 days after its premiere, it's trending #1 on Disney Plus, an animated show for Star Wars in 51 different countries. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty
wild.
awesome.
Do you guys think that surpasses, or do you think that'll hold and surpasses our prediction of, that it's just gonna be people like us who watch it primarily? Like I think that kind of destroys my prediction for the audience anyway.
I think Maul as a name and a character will bring in more people. I already have friends who've never seen Rebels or Clone Wars or Bad Batch watching this show, and
Yeah.
family members and everything. Like, that's just not what you see. So yeah, I think just it being about Maul is going to bring in a lot of new, or I guess not new eyes to Star Wars, but new eyes to animations in Star Wars.
Well, and hopefully that will help out everything else with, like we've talked about with, again, Clone Wars and Bad Batch and Rebels. If they're like, oh, this is really good, this gave me a lot of information on this character, let me go back and watch the Clone Wars. I was talking with somebody just this week, and they were like, yeah, I'm really just not an animation guy. I'm like, but if you want the answers, if you want the background of these characters, if you want to feel more, when Anakin does turn, if you want to feel more of that, you have to watch these. When you want to feel, again, I think, Mike, you're in the same boat as me. Ahsoka is one of my favorite characters now. I mean, I'm a freaking OG from the 70s, and Ahsoka is one of my top 5. Just phenomenal the way that Dave brought her into this and has gone on. And same with Maul. I know Maul's like your third favorite character. That was my second tattoo was Maul. I got Yoda and then I got Maul because he made such an impact on that first movie that he was in, whether it was a double lightsaber or him just flying and kicking around. And again, I understand that we came from the Kenobi and Vader fight. We come from the Luke and Vader fight. And then all of a sudden, it's the prequels, but it's still 20 years later for us. And you have everybody, these lightsaber duels are not more interesting, but faster, quicker, more skilled than they were, 20 years before that, which makes sense. But when you see this guy come in and he drops his, cloak and he lights up that double lightsaber, there's nothing like it. And then all of a sudden he's gone. And it's like, what the hell? That freaking guy was awesome. And we've compared him to Boba Fett before. I know we all have, where he gets this little part and then, he's thrown into the Sarlacc pit and we suppose that he dies. But he doesn't, which is fantastic. But this Maul series has brought this character to life. And yes, you don't have to watch everything, but hopefully some of these people, when they watch this, are going to go, oh, I got to go back and watch Clone Wars. I got to go back and watch Rebels because I want to know more about this guy.
Well, think about like how iconic a character with maybe 2 or 3 lines in a movie how iconic they have to be. And I don't know, I wasn't there with the OGs, but I would assume there was a big buildup of hype about seeing the Jedi in their prime. And imagine how iconic a character has to be to overshadow like everything everyone was hoping for 20 years, to be like, oh man, that's the guy that when I think of that movie, I think of him. As much as I want to think of Liam Neeson, if I think of the Phantom Menace, I think most people think of Maul's face. And it's just, like you said before, you guys, having the Maul name on this show is just like the tip of the iceberg of how interesting it can get. That's a pretty big iceberg. So,
yeah, for sure.
Well, what I found really cool about these first 2 episodes in particular was when you watch the trailers back, how much, I guess, we've already seen, how much of the trailers we've already watched. It's at least 50%. So, yes, all the Inquisitors and the Stormtroopers and stuff we haven't seen yet, but that might be coming like next week or the week after that. I still think the last at least 4 episodes of this series are untouched. Still think Vader's coming, maybe even some Palpatine, but I still think a lot of the marketing, if you go back and watch the first trailer, it's already done after 2 episodes. So after 4, it's going to be like 90% of it's gone. And the Empire is going to show up pretty quickly, I think, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's why I stand by. Like, we're gonna see like the huts and things like that because they weren't in any of the trailers. And Mike's absolutely right. I noticed that too. That it was like, oh, that was pretty much everything in the trailers already.
Yeah,
that was about the only prediction of mine that is doing pretty well so far. Is that we basically get the trailers almost all together.
Well, and like we've talked about, it's going to get better from here, and it was already phenomenal. But we're going to get. I agree with you, Mike. I think we're going to get the Pikes these next 2 episodes, and then we'll start to get these Inquisitors with that whatever that title is. You know, where they sort of pretty much call them out in that title, which will be fantastic. But we have to get some more of this stuff, and we'll learn some more. I think we'll learn some more of Devin in the next episodes. Sort of see what's going on. I think we will see that episode with her and her master talking and him saying, we just can't be allies. I would pretty much guarantee that that's going to be in 3 or 4 because we have to get to that and we still have to get him. I don't think it's going to take all season long for them to get together. So we have to get there. We have to figure out what's going to happen to him. I actually think that one of the Inquisitors kills him off, Iko Dio. Because if Maul did it, I think she'd be more pissed at him and maybe not join him as quickly. But if they do that and he's like, hey, listen, you don't know what's going on. The Empire's here. We need someone like you as a Jedi. You can come with me. We can do something about this. And I think if he killed her master, it might be a little bit different. But I think one of the Inquisitors is probably gonna cut him down. And but Nick had said something before, and I guess we can get to that in a minute. But I think he's going to be an interesting character. I want to see what his skills are. Obviously, he's powerful enough, to, and he's got this like you were saying yesterday. It's almost like just a pipe,
It's a muffler of a car.
So.
In the spirit of Iko Diko Daki talk, maybe we come back to him later. As a future question.
I mean, I could see him stealing catalytic converters or something, but
he's on the lam actually.
Welcome, Zima. Thanks for joining us.
The other thing that we're gonna see is we have to see Crimson Dawn because they talked about that he doesn't have the ties to Crimson Dawn yet. So we're gonna see that this season.
Yeah.
So we already know that's gonna happen. But I think that's probably not going to be next week. It's going to be the week after.
Okay. Yeah, I think he's going to he went through Janix right away. Demas is gone. Vario is captured. He's gone. So he's controlling Janix now. Now he's going for the Pikes. I think the Pikes will be done with next week. And like Derek just said, it could be Black Sun or Crimson Dawn the following week. I think it's just going to be bang, 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 bang. And then by the end of the season, he's out of people to go after. So it's Palpatine time. And honestly, the way I see these next 2 episodes going down is Maul's going after the Pikes, and maybe even while he's off world, like if he goes to the Pikes specifically, maybe that's when the Empire shows up on Janix because they've found a Jedi there, and they found 2 Jedi there actually, and that's where we get the scene from the trailer of Devin Izara taking down stormtroopers with her blue lightsaber. So we could get that happening, and then Maul returns to Janix with just a Star Destroyer overhead, chaos because he left for a couple days and it didn't end too well. That's what I think is going to go down. But I agree with you. I think it goes, we dealt with Janix these first 2 episodes. Pikes are next, and then probably the Black Sun or Crimson Dawn after that.
Yeah, and that'll be a good progression. What were you say, Derek? Go ahead.
I said, then it's Palpatine.
Yeah. I will be surprised if we see Vader this season. I'm sort of a little bit different from you on this one, Mike. I know we usually agree on most things, but I think it'll be, and I could be completely wrong, and it is what it is. But I have a feeling I think that when he says "my lord," I really think that he's talking to Palpatine, because I think Palpatine and Maul have that, so to speak, connection, obviously.
Yeah.
So, and I think we've seen, and again, everybody loves Vader. I love Vader, but we've seen him come through a lot of these already. And I think if we bring Palpatine, the baddest MFer in the galaxy, to this, it'll I think it'll have a little bit more meaning, because you're going to the top dog. You're not going through the guys that technically Darth Vader is in charge of them, and I know he hates it, but I think that they actually might go to Palpatine and say, "Hey, listen, you know what? Maul is alive," and then we might get him to be like, "Okay, well," and it could be. I don't think it'll be towards the end, but it could be, something where he's like, "Okay, you guys go. Now I'm going to talk to Vader about it," and maybe that cliffhanger at the end is, the two of them getting ready to square off. I mean, what a cliffhanger that would be from season 1 to season 2 is Vader and Maul just enter a room together and we don't even get the fight.
What if my lord is actually Jar Jar?
Oh,
Now we're talking. I agree with you that I don't think Vader versus Maul will happen this season, but I think Vader will be in the season. Like, whether it be a hologram or he shows up, like Rebels season 1, Vader is in season 2 and just absolutely destroys Kanan and Ezra. But in season 1, you see his hologram, like he has a conversation with the Grand Inquisitor or something. So I think we could get a little bit of Vader. Obviously, not a big battle, at least not yet. That's why it's multiple seasons.
Yeah, which is amazing already. That it's so cool that we already have something to look forward to next year as this rolls around.
Well, that I think they did that on. I mean, I hope they did that on purpose, because I think the reason it's trending number 1 is because of that news a couple days before the release that season 2 is already happening. So they have all the confidence in the world that this show is going to be successful, and that was proven to the fans when they greenlit a second season before the first season even began. So hopefully, if this show is successful and the second season successful, that becomes a common trend, because if they start doing that, I mean, if they release Skeleton Crew and they were like, Skeleton Crew's already getting a second season, I think Skeleton Crew would have performed a lot better, because people were like, what is this? Jude Law and Star Wars? Okay, that's kind of cool. But what even is this? And it was great, but it was so disconnected from everything else that people kind of had a hard time latching onto it. But if you announced that there was a second season, people were like, okay, this is a story that's going to go on for a while. Let me get on board now.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. What do you guys think of the, and Nathan had actually said it here, the mentions of the Shadow Collective?
it was to inform people who don't know what that is. I was actually watching it with one of my friends, and sort of when the Shadow Collective was first brought up, he was like, "What the hell was that?" And I was like, "Just give it a sec," because I'd already seen the episodes 3 times at that point. But no, they do a great job of doing that, though, explaining it as they go. And yeah, the mentions of the Shadow Collective were just to set that up, to explain to people who don't know what that is, because we know what that is, but to explain to people who don't what it is and how it goes.
Yeah. And I like, Mike, you mentioned it earlier, and I think it was an awesome use of Brendan Lawson. As this detective, did not expect like a detective vibe in Maul Shadow Lord, but it's a perfect option for kind of doing all the exposition of what's going on for Maul. So like as Lawson finds out about like what's going on, that informs anyone who might be unsure, like anyone that we've been talking about that hasn't seen any other animation and is like, okay, where does Maul fit now? What is Shadow Collective? I feel like in some of these cases with Star Wars, some of the best ways to inform the audience of what's going on is through someone that kind of represents the audience. And I feel like Brendan Lawson for right now is representing the audience. It's like trying to figure out what's going on. 4 of us know.
Yeah.
Like why he's going after these people. We might be losing ourselves here.
Yeah, everybody went off for a minute.
Yeah.
Everybody,
I'm still
Hello?
here. I lost Nick for a second.
All right.
we lost.
Like,
Yeah, I'm
what did
still
I
here.
say?
they were shutting him down.
Okay. I'm not. So someone might want to carry on.
All right. Oh yeah, next to Little Frozen. I don't know.
Uh-oh.
I just got all.
He was
yeah.
revealing too much.
Man.
They had to shut him down.
That's
Yeah.
right.
My bad.
What do you guys think about?
Oh no.
What do I think about what?
Oh no. Oh,
Oh, no.
we're on quite the cliffhanger.
We're losing them.
Oh
We're
no.
losing them.
You guys have a storm in Tennessee. Is there a tornado
Everybody.
coming? Oh
I
no,
don't
we
know.
keep
I don't
losing.
know.
So
I'm dying to know what I think about.
don't do that to me, Mike. Now I'm wondering if you're gonna be gone too. Oh no. It's like
Well, I clearly think about that all the time. I just don't know what it is.
it must be that wonderful Tennessee internet they've got down there.
Yes. Well, while they figure it out, let's talk about the goat himself, Spybot.
Oh my gosh.
They didn't really promote him in anything. He's not on the poster. He's not in
Yes.
any of the trailers. But in terms of like new droid, I know we always talk about you got R2, C3PO, Chopper, K2SO, like great droids and stuff. This is like pure evil, giggling to himself, saying like "kabuya" and stuff like that. Like this guy's awesome.
It's honestly, I think he might be my new favorite droid. He is just like confident. He is sassy. He's savage. And I'm like, I'm waiting. Is the kill count gonna be more than Chopper?
Yeah.
And
He's
that's
got
what
the
I'm
one.
super excited for.
He's got the one eye that makes him look angry too. Like that.
Yeah.
That's it's so good. And he's like a design we never really see before with like a flying UFO looking thing. And when he goes up, like in episode 2, I think up next to Maul, like he's a dog and he like pets him. Like it's so cool.
Yeah, I absolutely loved it. But then like if they didn't have him, none of that would have worked.
Yeah. No, 100%. And that's what's kind of cool about this show is it takes place a couple of years after Clone Wars. So Maul's got all these people, like the two Zabrak species as well, Icarus and Scorn. Like, where did they come from? Where did this droid come from? I guess we don't need to know, but there's enough time in between that you can add a bunch of cool new characters to make it all make sense. And there's a bunch of Mandalorians still with him. They're kind of using them as no-faced soldiers at this point, but except for Rook Cast, obviously. But yeah.
Yeah. And so like with that too, how much, I mean, I think he's going to be like one of the main characters, or I mean, I would assume maybe not, throughout this whole series. And I think that we're going to see even more, but what I'm wondering is something going to happen to it?
Yeah, because he's not in Rebels type deal. I mean, you could say that for all these people. I don't know. Rook Cast, the popular theory right now is that Rook Cast is the armorer, which I love and I hope is true. But there's going to be some falling out with Maul and everybody. Everybody in this show is going to have some sort of falling out with Maul. And that droid will just be one of them. Nathan said in the chat, can we get a Chopper versus Spybot? I'd be down for that.
Oh my. Could you? Oh, what if Chopper takes out Spybot?
Now that would be amazing. At this point, only having seen him for 2 episodes, I think Spybot has the upper hand. He's just, I don't know.
But
he can
you got to
fly
explain
better.
why he's gone.
Yeah, Chopper taking him out would be like legendary.
Oh my gosh. If that happens, I will get a tattoo of Spybot versus Chopper.
You heard it here first.
There we go, folks. So we
That'd
get
be
Cal
awesome.
Kestis and all 3 things. I'm wearing the poncho for a year, every day for a year. Oh man.
This is what happens when we lose these two. We just talk about getting crazy things going on. Okay. But no, I agree with you. I think Spybot's got to go, and how he goes will be an interesting one, especially with his attachment to Maul. Maybe Maul gets upset about it. What if Vader kills him?
Oh.
Vader lightsaber through Spybot? Or
what
Palpatine.
If Palpatine does like a force lightning?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and Maul, that would piss Maul off. Like,
Yeah.
I think Maul losing it will really mess him up. Like,
Well,
he'll throw him into a rage.
It would be crazy because Maul's by himself and he seems to be like, Palpatine took everything from me type deal. It would be crazy if Palpatine continues to take everything from him. And just like he took his I guess, life at first, but just like he took his brother, what if he kills Rook Cast and Spybot and all these other people that are with him and just leaves him by himself to just die. Like, it could get pretty dark pretty quickly. This is still, it was funny as I watched the first 2 episodes, I'm sitting there going like, rooting for Maul. And then you realize by the end of the show, you're like, this is still the bad guy. You're rooting for the bad guy somehow, some way. I don't know how they're doing it, but
Oh, I like, yeah, Two Boots. Jedi Jarva was talking about Two Boots. Two Boots is great too.
yes,
Yeah.
the droids in this show are carrying hard.
Yeah, they really are. I think and I don't know if you guys had said this or not, but the little comments that Spybot has, he's almost like a Chopper type of little smart ass.
That's what we're saying. So you guys missed it. We wonder what if Chopper kills Spybots and Spybot's not in Rebels. And I said, if Chopper and Spybot have a fight, I will get the tattoo.
Oh,
so
That'd
heard
be
it here,
awesome.
folks. There he is, our favorite little bunny.
Chopper just makes a bunch of grunting noises. This guy actually speaks, which is honestly pretty cool.
Well, and you can go online and figure out what Chopper says, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And if you listen to it, you can actually
sometimes
tell
you can just tell. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you can tell, but he'll drop some swear words too, which is pretty funny, I think.
Yeah.
So sorry, we were off for a little bit and we are back, so that's a good thing. So thank you.
Yeah.
So Mandalorian and Grogu stuff is pretty crazy too.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Do you want to talk about some stuff in reference to Maul for everybody sort of to get their
yeah. So
enjoy.
How about this, you guys? How are your predictions going so far? This is for everybody, not just us on the screen. It's way too early to be talking like this, but I don't know. I felt like it could get the juices flowing of what's going on. The one Derek kind of had the most spot on prediction of
it
the
does
week.
Happen sometimes, but I've also had some really far off ones. So like,
it depends. Like, does that mean Cal Kestis is gonna happen, or does that mean that you're used up now for
I mean, I said I don't think Cal will be.
Yeah.
I said if he's in all 3, that's all.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think Cal's in it.
What do you guys think? How are your predictions or thoughts on how it's going to go? Did the first 2 episodes kind of make you pivot a little bit on what you think could happen? This is not necessarily a conversation of were you right or wrong. It's more like from Sunday during the day to Monday morning, like what has anything changed in terms of your outlook? What's going on with this Maul Shadow Lord?
Yes, a lot has changed. I guess the biggest one to me would be the Master Eco Dio character, because I thought he'd be gone by the time we spoke on Wednesday. I thought he'd already be dead, just to throw us into the mix and give Devin a reason to join the dark side. And it seems like that's going to be played up a little bit more than I thought it would in this season, because now we see that Devin's likely to go back to her master, and Eco Dio is going to play a bigger role. Now, I still think he's going to die by the end of season 1, and I think, like Ron mentioned earlier, he might die to an Inquisitor. But I thought he would have been gone. I thought he already would have been gone, and we would be talking about the great death of Master Eco Dio and how great a character he was for the 5 minutes that we had him. But no, here he is. Here he is begging for food on the side of the road with his muffler from his car, just as he stepped.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I thought he was probably going to be gone, and then after we didn't get that scene, actually after he kidnapped her, or I'm sorry, she got locked up, and he went to find her and see her in jail. I thought that was pretty interesting because we didn't get to see the 2 of them, her and her master, at all. So, and I thought we'd get that whole thing before, that whole scene, her getting locked up. I didn't see that coming at all. But I also think that it added to it, obviously, about Maul having these visions, because I think, like you said, Mike, these visions are going to definitely be something that's going to possibly hurt him mentally, if not, at least give him some things to think about through this whole season, I think.
Yeah. I want to ask you guys about the visions. Like Maul having somebody brought up the crazy theory that maybe Palpatine's placing the visions in his head, which I don't think is happening because why would Maul do that with this Twi'lek girl? I don't see that happening. But Maul having visions of this, like that's weird, is it not? Like Maul's not usually a guy to be doing stuff like this.
Well,
yeah,
go
go ahead.
No, keep
No,
going.
you go.
Oh, I was going to say he hasn't done it, but to me, it's still bringing back that rule of two where he's trying to be Darth. He's trying to bring back the rule of two for him and an apprentice. And it's, to me, it's the Force trying to will that to happen. So it needs balance. There's no balance in the Force right now because the Jedi are gone, essentially. And you have Palpatine ruling on high with Vader. But I think it's I think it's the Force's will to balance it out.
I actually love that a lot.
That's a good theory.
Because you got to think about all the Jedi just died in the Force. If you're thinking of the Force in that living entity way that needs balance, then it's probably going to try and get Maul, who's the best option at this point, to seek his revenge. I like that a lot. If Maul is just being used by the Force itself to get revenge on Palpatine just because he killed all the Jedi, that would be awesome.
Yes, and that's what, like, that was my first instinct when he had that vision, because we haven't seen him do that before.
Yeah.
And it's about her, who is a Jedi. It was like, oh, now, well, she'll probably turn to the dark side, like we know is probably going to happen, but it's in order to balance the Force out more.
Is it in order to balance the Force out more because the Force deems it, or is it just more cannon fodder for Darth Vader's blade?
Yeah.
Hey, I'll take both. I'm ready.
I'll throw out there too, like, I don't know if we've really talked about this as a group, but he tried to enlist Ahsoka not that long ago too at this point. And so even if there's also like a personal need for him, Derek, like you've said a bunch, like there's a personal need for him to take on an apprentice that he hasn't really talked about other than like Ahsoka. We might be able to go fill the power vacuum. He doesn't even know who she is, right? Like, and he's asking her right then and there to help him. I do feel a little hesitant for Devin Azzaro, simply because like I do think all he knows is like just using her however he needs to and then moving on. Like I think we're gonna sympathize with him and forget that he's the bad guy here. But I do love the way that he's like quote unquote started her training. I would have assumed it would be like him trying to turn her and get her mad or like fool her. And I love the way he's just like, I think you're indoctrinated. I think you are on the losing side of this whole thing. So am I. If you want to leave, but you have to do it, and it's and you surviving is going to require you to do some un-Jedi things. And I do think eventually, as Ron alluded to earlier, they're going to be put in a situation where he demonstrates to her, we're probably better off being allies than enemies. Like, you see those two Inquisitors over there, maybe they kill her master, or maybe they just give him a hard time. They can't get away with them or get away from them. I think he's going to demonstrate to the both of them that you need me the same way that he kind of does to the Rebels crew, So, but I think there will be some kind of learning experience here with him and this girl and this master that informs how he behaves with the Rebels crew later on. And I don't know what that is,
Have you guys seen The Penguin, the show The Penguin? The new one with Colin Farrell?
Yeah.
Ron has. Nick, have you seen it? Derek?
Nope.
No.
It's good.
It's really good. I guess I don't really know how to say this without spoiling it, so I can't. But
we've already spoiled Maul. We didn't put up a warning, so.
Well, I guess without
expect it.
Yes, without spoiling it, I suppose.
Now you can spoil it. It's fine.
It's about the Penguin. The Penguin is a bad guy of Batman, obviously. But throughout the course of the show, you kind of forget that he's a bad guy. Like I was just saying with Maul, you almost forget he's a bad guy. And then at the very end, I guess I'm spoiling it. Spoiler alert. He does something bad. We'll just put it that. So he ends up being a bad guy, which is not a shock. If you know it's the Penguin, you know he's gonna be bad. But it, for some reason, was a shock, and everybody's like, "Holy crap, that's crazy!" What if that's the way this Maul show goes? What if through the whole thing, you're like, Maul's in the right now. He's saying all the right things. He wants to kill the Emperor. The Emperor is the bad guy. And then come the finale, he does something horrible, and you're like, oh yeah, Maul's a bad guy.
Yeah, that's a great however you want to connection.
Comparison.
Yeah, comparison. Yeah, yes. And I think that's what you have to keep in the back of your mind, that he is a bad MFer. Okay.
Yeah.
He doesn't care. He's just slicing and dicing to get what he wants. Now, right now, they are the bad guys and the stormtroopers, and as we go on, they will be. But again, just him cracking that bridge, he didn't care. He figured, okay, this guy, maybe he'll save him, maybe he won't, whatever. I'm sure he thought about it, but he didn't care if 15 people fell to their death, 15 innocent people walking across that bridge. But again, like you said, Mike, we feel for him at this point, because most of us have an idea of what's going on. I think we're going to get a little bit more of an explanation of what's going on, especially during this tea party, and hopefully that'll be in 3 or 4 here, like next week. I think that, and maybe not, because again, we still have to figure out what's going on. But they've moved along so good with the information, and we've already got 2 of the big crime bosses. One of them's already gone, and the other one's sort of in captivity right now. So yes, 50 Thunder, he's a businessman, so he's taking care of business now with what he needs to. And if he can get a Jedi to come to his side to help him, or he can get a couple more Zabraks and some Mandalorians, but I think that he would kill any one of them to get what he wants.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it also, we all know, at least everybody in this chat probably knows, how his story ends. And it doesn't end as like it ends as you like.
Nick? You want to spoil it for
I'll
everybody?
spoil it. I'll spoil it. He never gets over it ever, and that's his story. Is that he never gets over it, and everybody else that his. Let me just put it this way. Sometimes your biggest rival doesn't think about you at all. And that's kind of the end of his story. To anyone who doesn't know, everybody knows. But you kind of look at him and pity him. It's not even like a, man, he was right and he was looked at wrong. It was like, it's sad because you pity him. And so at this point, like, I think this is sort of another round of meat and potatoes for his story, where he, we start to enjoy him for a little bit, and we're going to enjoy him if he's evil, but I think he's going to keep being evil. He needs to be a threat for this crime syndicate scheme he's got rolling. And I think he will be that threat, but I think we'll come to understand maybe less about like that we need to know who he is, but like what he wants. And I do think it's his whole point of his character is revenge. Like, he embodies revenge. It's what his only lines in Phantom Menace are about. And Clone Wars is all about revenge. But I think we'll get more than that. And I think Derek's on the right track with that. I think he will be a little more careful. Like, it was all about revenge with Shadow Collective. And now he has to think a little farther ahead than just, who am I going to knock off the list next? And I think some of that has to do with his place as a Force wielder, possibly like take over the Sith. Maybe he turns out like, I'm done. Like this, I believe in the Sith stuff, but I don't need them. I'm a new thing. Who knows? But
and I think another big piece of the puzzle that we haven't even touched on is Brander Lawson.
Yeah,
like, he's going to be a huge part of what happens to Maul and how it happens, because he wants the Empire out of it. Obviously, he wants to like figure out what's going on. He wants justice, but like, does he really want justice, or he just want like his planet to be left alone? That's kind of the thing of like, okay, I just want these guys out of here. I don't see him like traveling throughout the galaxy for Maul necessarily, but maybe he will. But he's not going to go away anytime soon.
And he's really important for telling the story right now, like we talked about earlier. But I think you could also throw out there that the Empire's influence in this story will also shape, like it'll shape Brandon Loss in the same way it'll shape Devin, I think. Like they will have to trust their own situation that they wouldn't have picked themselves, because the Empire doesn't care what they're trying to do. They don't care that Brandon Lawson's going after Maul. They care that he didn't report it and he's a huge person of interest and it's totally confidential, and he knows too much, so.
Well, here's a good. I think Brett's got a good question here. Does Maul have a midichlorian count? Is that just in the Jedi, or how does that work? And where does he rank, amongst Jedi or other Sith?
Yeah, I mean, they all have midichlorian counts if you wield the Force. Everybody has midichlorian count, I guess. But we don't know his. At least, I don't know his, I should say. But where would he rank amongst other Jedi? That's really tough. You see him fight Ahsoka and lose. You see him fight Obi-Wan and lose. You see him fight Palpatine and get absolutely destroyed. So he's not like
Qui-Gon and win.
That's true. Don't take away his wins. That's for sure. And he does fight Obi-Wan again in the Clone Wars to sort of a stalemate. So it's not like he is anywhere close to Palpatine Anakin level, but he's still more powerful than an Inquisitor. Like when you see in Rebels, Kanan fight an Inquisitor and really struggle, and then Ahsoka comes in and just absolutely destroys an Inquisitor. He's around the Ahsoka level. Like that's where I'd put him at.
I think that's perfect, because I don't think he could beat Dooku either. I think Dooku was an upgrade.
Yeah.
That's the hardest part for me, because when we see him in this, and I think it's just going to get better, that he's still a badass. I mean, they all have their different ways of fighting and using the lightsaber, but man, I just all the stuff that he's doing right now, it's just I almost think that it could be, because I think that Ahsoka, I think you're right with the Ahsoka, the level up with Ahsoka. I think that they're very similar, because obviously she beat him, but there was some circumstances there as well. Yeah. But she was trained so well from Anakin, which is phenomenal, and I think she's a badass as well. But I think I give Maul more credit than I think most people do. I think that you could put him up against Dooku in a saber battle. I think that he could pretty equally defend himself against. Now with the Force lightning and stuff like that, yeah, Dooku has the upper hand. But I think Maul is a badass, and I think we're going to see a lot more of him stepping up his game in the next few weeks, along with, and yeah, most of these people that he's dealing with don't have many Jedi powers, except for like the Inquisitors, and if Darth Vader or Palpatine rolls around. So yeah, it's sort of like you're not fighting fire with fire. But I think Maul, I think Maul's underrated in power wise.
For sure. And I think if you read his book, you understand how cunning he is, and you understand a lot more of how he is really good at manipulating people really quickly. But that's where the Shadow Lord comes from. I don't think the Shadow Lord is all just about the underworld and doing that. It's about how he's able to manipulate people from the shadows. Like he is the Lord of that. He is the best.
Yeah.
I also think we should throw in there what we've talked about many times, that like circumstances in Star Wars don't, in the Force and all that kind of stuff, don't really care how well trained you are. It kind of, on paper, whoever's outranked where on paper doesn't really matter depending on the circumstance. So I think Maul, I might have been a little harsh on Maul just now. He is a badass, but I don't know if
Dare
there's
you.
anybody. I don't know if there's anybody in Star Wars who gets in their own way more than Maul, which is kind of part of his issue.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Well, to that point too, like I said that he lost to everybody. He does beat Qui-Gon. And
Yeah.
as you said, it's sort of the will of the Force, I guess, that Obi-Wan beats him. But he can defeat a fully trained Jedi Master. He even, for a really long epic lightsaber duel called the Duel of the Fates, he does stick with both Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan at the same time for a
Mhm.
long time. So
I don't think Maul was ever trained to be like a successor, though. I think he's trained to be a weapon.
Yeah.
And I think he's a great weapon. We'll see through this show. He obviously is successful to some degree. And he becomes, like Derek said, he becomes a lot more than just like an angry weapon that you throw at somebody.
Well, with the weapon thing, I mean, he was tortured by Palpatine, and like that's how he got so strong. But to see him have like almost like a sense of compassion for what may be his new Padawan, not Padawan, but his new apprentice. It's interesting, like his shift in tactics. Again, to me, that's where the master manipulator comes in. Like, yeah, we know Palpatine was good at controlling people, but Palpatine controlled people through the Force, not as much as manipulating.
Yeah, very true. And that's where I think we're going to see the revenge in him and everything else. Do you guys think that we will get a Kenobi reference in this?
I mean, he might talk about him as a person and be like, this guy chopped me in half one time, but he thinks that he's dead at this point, so he's not really focused on that guy anymore. And it's been a couple of years since he thought that he was dead. So unless it's sort of a reminiscing of the past, I don't think he'll bring him up.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing. So when does he figure out that Kenobi's still alive?
Rebels.
In Rebels?
Yeah, when the holocrons tell him. Yeah.
But I thought he was going to get the holocron because he wanted to find out where Obi-Wan was.
Well, I think
No,
initially didn't he want the super weapon of the planet?
Okay,
so he
that's
wanted
right.
a giant holocron.
Yeah,
and then realized that all they could come away with was that. And I think in a similar fashion, like he might mention, if he thinks Kenobi's dead right now, he might mention how annoying it is that he wasn't the one that got to do it, and so he's moved on the list to Darth Sidious. I also might throw out there, what do you guys think of this? I was thinking about this on the way over here. Sorry to change the course, but do you think that Maul's initial I guess assumption, if he figures out, I'm sure he can figure out who Vader is at some point, right? He already knows that Anakin's long been groomed for the role, his own exact words. If he kind of surmises that this guy who's all messed up, Darth Vader, might be Anakin Skywalker, do you think he will underestimate him a little bit? Because he's kind of annoyed that Anakin's project came to stop me, and I didn't even want either of them. I wanted Kenobi, and was prepared to maybe take on Anakin and Obi-Wan, which I don't think would have ended well for him. But I wonder what his thoughts are of this Skywalker dude is just my second replacement. But I could see him becoming very shocked by Vader in a way that makes him terrified of him in Rebels. But I can also see him having totally underestimated him at this point if he finds out who he is.
Well, but I also think it would have been interesting to see him fight Anakin.
Yeah.
Where he's not Darth Vader yet. And also that would have been a great, I think that would have been a great duel as well with him and Anakin. But before then, because yes, he was very powerful, but like Zima says, he technically beat Obi-Wan as well. He just didn't finish him off.
Yeah.
And Obi-Wan got the best of him. So I mean, he's pretty skilled. So I think that would have been a freaking awesome duel. Vader will be as well, but I think Anakin and him would probably have been a little bit better matched up at the time for that. Now that Vader is more powerful, yeah, I think that we know they're both going to survive if it does come down to a fight between the two of them, which would be awesome. But I think that Anakin and him would have been a really cool duel as well.
Well, to your point too, Nick, like he could very much underestimate him because he's never met Anakin. He's never actually fought the kid. And to him, he is a kid. So when we find him in Rebels, he is so scared of Vader. Like he is pooping his pants when he shows up on Malachor 5. So something has to happen between now and then where that has to be like made obvious. Why is he so scared of Vader? And to see him go toe to toe with him, that seems where we're leading to at this point, will be great. But I would love him to walk in and be like, my replacement. You're no match for me. I'm the first generation. I'm the best. I'm whatever. And then Vader just like destroys him. Doesn't kill him obviously, but destroys him. He's like, replacement. I'm the freaking upgrade, buddy.
Mockingly calls him my lord.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that'd be awesome.
But yeah, I could see Vader being the unexpected massive issue with Maul's like revenge plan. Like not counting on, he's going crime bosses to Darth Sidious.
Yeah.
And he's not currently accounting for a Darth Vader. And he's probably not necessarily counting on Inquisitors. And if he is, they're just bowling pins for him. And I could see the same way he might recruit Devin. Whatever they do to those Inquisitors, say Marak or the Crow, he uses them as recruitments after death as well. He's working on something. There you go, Ron. Let's put that up there.
That thing is sweet. Well, to that point too, like Maul's entrance in the first episode is so awesome when the Duel of the Fates hits and he's swinging the lightsaber. When we see the Crow enter in the trailer, that entrance is awesome. Like his ship lands and the door opens and it's this great entrance. When Vader enters, like it's gonna be Imperial March. It's gonna be like this incredible entrance, and the Kiner Bros, of course, still doing the music for this show. It's gonna be like dramatic entrance after dramatic entrance, but the top dog, the best entrance you need to have is Vader. So whenever that actually happens, it'll be a big deal, just like Maul's, I guess. But
Yeah,
Oh,
the
it's
music's
like-
going to play a huge part in it.
Yeah. Well, it's just like, and did you guys finish Rogue One today, Mike? No. But it's like, when you see that entrance for him in Rogue One, I mean, this is going to be, it's going to be phenomenal. The entrance that whether it's Palpatine, I think, or Maul, if they're going to come into it, just like in Clone Wars, when Palpatine walks in, to just wipe the floor with him and his brother, it's just it's a really cool entrance that comes in there, and you're just like, oh, this is going to be epic. Again, Luke coming in season 2 of Mandalorian and Grogu, they're not going to downplay any of these entrances with these iconic characters here, which I think is going to be phenomenal.
Well, the only thing is with Vader, he has to have a reason to go there. And the Inquisitors are supposed to deal with surviving Jedi. So that's like if they find out about Devin and Dino Jedi there, Mr. Muffler, they'll just send Inquisitors.
Stealer.
The guy
Yes.
from Allstate commercials.
Yeah. Yes. They'll just send in the Inquisitors. It won't be until he says my Lord Maul lives until Vader shows up, because that's a big deal. And honestly, you brought up Luke Skywalker in The Mandalorian Season 2. You could get a Luke Skywalker in The Mandalorian Season 2 entrance for Vader. Like him just coming in and killing everybody and then like having a cool little hallway scene maybe himself. Like that is the type of entrance that character deserves. And they've done Vader so well over the last 10, 15 years in very little time, like Rogue One and like Kenobi and like all of it.
I mean, how about his entrance in Rebels when he's standing on his own TIE fighter?
Yeah.
That's
How do you top
awesome.
that?
Yeah.
So dramatic. But I could see an entrance, Luke was a shock in Mandalorian season 2. If we cover that much ground in this season and Maul thinks he's got a shot at Darth Sidious, I could see him being kind of blindsided the same way he's blindsided with Ahsoka with Vader, and being like, something's weird. Like Palpatine has set him up to have that. It's a great test for Vader because that's all Vader's Sith training is anyway. It's just tests. You know, he doesn't actually get trained in it. And then, what a great way to like either guarantee that Maul's going to go, or to like punish Maul and still, you know, have options. Or if Vader wasn't cut out for it, you know, welcome Maul back. You know, I could see that being just this like open-ended manipulation tactic of Maul thinking he's going to accomplish something, and then all of a sudden Vader's there, and we're not even really expecting it, or he's not expecting it for sure. But like you guys said, I don't know if we'll get a fight this season. I think we'll get a hint.
So total sidebar for me, like as we're talking about this, and like I was thinking about the music, of course, like Duel of the Fates is probably my favorite music from all of Star Wars. I know it's weird, but it's one of my favorites. So the last time I was at Disney, I had just got done making my third lightsaber, and I did it with a red kyber crystal. And I was walking out of my hotel, and I was at the Swan and Dolphin. And if you've ever been there, they're like these huge pillars and this like almost like this walkway that takes you to Epcot. And as I'm walking out, it's starting to lightning in the distance, and Duel of the Fates comes on, and all of the uplights out there turned red. And I'm holding my lightsaber walking to Epcot, and I'm like, this they had to do this for me, right? Like, is this a thing that just happens every night, or does it happen like if there's lightning and they know like when to change it? So the whole trip, I went out there at the same time every night and never heard it again. So to me, I was like, but it was so iconic because it kind of like had a vibe. It didn't look like the where they were fighting, but it just had a Star Warsy vibe. And all of that just reminded me, as we're talking about these shows, listen to how the music plays out throughout this season, because I think that might give us some more clues as to what is going to happen. And that's where like I'm going to go back again. I mean, I've watched it 4 times, so that my 5th time is kind of analyzing the music and seeing what changes there are. And that's my music geekiness. But throughout Star Wars history, it's happened a lot.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I mean, they didn't throw Duel of Fates in there on these trailers for just for shits and giggles. They put it in there for a reason.
Right.
Besides for us to go back to that epic entrance, and that's what everybody did at that point. When you hear that, you see that scene, and it's such an iconic scene, and the music is so incredible. Yeah, Derek, you're absolutely right, and that's what makes Star Wars as well. It wouldn't be as good without the music and the composers, starting with John Williams all the way through the Kiner brothers and Mandalorian and Boba Fett, all of these different things that are coming out. The music is definitely something that helps us get through these things.
Yeah. Well, first of all, going back to Derek's story, I think you were hallucinating. No, I think you just wanted
I was
that
not
to happen.
on drugs. I was not on spice. I swear.
No,
I actually have a video.
epic.
I have a video of it. So
There you go.
Baha.
Well, did you pull out the lightsaber and start like looking around like, oh my god?
Of course.
I
I started running up and down, and like, the great thing about being at Disney is no one thought that was out of the ordinary too much. It's just like, okay, like this is just a dude that's got a lightsaber. Like, it was pretty great. And also I'm like less than 3 weeks away from being at Disneyland for Star Wars nights.
Nice.
For the after hours party. And did you see the new popcorn buckets?
No, I didn't.
What?
Really?
Oh
Wars
my
popcorn
god.
All right,
And the
Nick,
new-
what were
and
you
the-
going to say, Derek? You need to look those up.
Oh, okay. I was going to tell Derek what Nathan just told us, because I was going to mention that, but there's some Attack of the Clones music in this show already too, or Attack of the Clues.
Oh yeah. So I was going to mention that too. That's what I was going to say. When Brandon Lawson first appears, and maybe it was during that Speeder Bike Chase too. I thought I heard maybe like Padme's theme or Leia's theme. I can't remember now. I'll have to go back and watch it. But yeah, it sounded like something
Yeah.
we'd already heard before. And
The
they
spirit is definitely Attack of the Clones stuff.
really.
Yep. And then if
Huh.
anyone wants to get a little crazy, I don't know why this happened, but I would be willing to bet a lot of money that in Harry Potter the Chamber of Secrets Quidditch game, they're playing Attack of the Clones track from John Williams for the Quidditch match. I'm not
Really?
kidding. You got to go check it out. And I think they came out like the same year or like pretty close.
Huh.
But it's identical. It's the same thing. And John Williams did the music for both, but it's, I don't know, Star Wars music deep cut, I guess.
Eric, this is awesome, by the way.
Oh yeah. So I just shared it in our group chat. I'm gonna put it in the comments as well. But I was just doing that so Ron could pull it up. But so the number one to me is the protocol droid head. It's just all beat up looking like I'm probably gonna buy a few of them because I can. The Bantha Sipper is pretty cool. The Luke and Darth Vader swizzle sticks are fine, but they have a DJ Rex mug.
Huh.
My God, DJ Rex is like my favorite. And
They got
Jabba's
awesome.
sail barge bucket is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's sick.
So I'm all about the popcorn buckets. I have a bunch of them already for Star Wars. Yeah.
Nice.
So
We might have to put some orders in, guys.
I mean, I can do it. I can do it.
I got the mouse droid. Oh wait, what the?
Yeah.
I got the mouse droid one.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
I've got the Falcon. I've got an AT. I've got when I did the Star Wars dessert party, which was amazing. I got the black TIE fighter. What other one? I've got so many. So many.
I also chopped off C-3PO's head.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah. Ron, can we share that? Can you
I'm trying.
up and
I'm
share your
trying.
screen?
Keep,
Okay.
keep talking.
I'm trying, Derek.
He's
I'm
working on it.
trying.
He's working on it. He's working on it.
I'm not as savvy as you
working.
are.
It's working.
We're going to need some live updates from Star Wars weekend, Derek.
Yes.
Oh, of course. I mean, I could probably go live. I'm definitely going to be vlogging it. So
Nice.
let me see if it'll let me share the screen.
You can probably do it faster than me.
Yes, I can. Okay. I think you have to add it though, Ron. There we go. Okay. So here we go.
All right.
There is our protocol droid.
Nice.
So here's a couple of them. It looks so good. Like I'm definitely getting a few of those. The problem is I'm going the opening day of this. I'll be there April 28th. And and the eyes light up too. That's ridiculous. But I'll be there April 28th, and the people that resell these are going to be crazy. So it says limit 2 per person per transaction. It's still going to be insane because people will like buy them and then they will take them to their vehicles and whatever they'll do. They'll do horrible stuff. So there's the swizzle sticks and
Get to that bucket. That's pretty awesome.
There's the DJ Rex mug. It's like the tiki mug. I can't wait for that one. And then the bucket.
Wow.
This is the Java sail barge. This one will be available May 4th, so it won't be there when I'm there, which is kind of a bummer, but maybe it's good for my wallet. So I do have friends that could get that. Here's a couple of the other ones. And then it just tells you where you can find them. And they've also got some different snacks that they're going to be doing. So yeah, that's...
Now, will that be going on in Florida as well?
No, only at Disneyland. So everybody that argues with me, like when I'm saying Disney World's better, this is the times that Disneyland is definitely better. So yeah.
Now, they just do that out there because that's where Lucasfilm and everything is, or
they do it to make me mad, I think. I think that's probably the biggest reason. No, I
around table going, okay, now how can we piss Derek off?
Let's
do this out in California.
I think it's because there's just so many more resources there. Like Disney's headquarters there, Lucasfilm's headquarters are there. They just have so many more people. it's closer to shipping lanes. So like when they get stuff from China or it's stuff made, it's easier for them to receive it. So yeah, there's just a lot of things like that that are going to factor into why they get it. It is kind of a bummer. I mean, Disney World did get the Galactic Star Cruiser, but that didn't work out. So come on, Disney, bring it over to Disney World.
Bring it on down.
All right.
Orlando, Florida.
But at
Back
least
to
I'll be
Maul.
at Disneyland.
Yeah, that'll be pretty freaking awesome too.
You go to Radiator Springs.
I'm going to.
In reference to Maul, you had a good question, and I
yeah.
think that would be cool for everybody to answer if you want to bring that up.
So before I put it on the screen, how do you guys feel about doing a character spotlight every week as Maul comes out? Because we'll be talking a lot about Maul.
Yeah.
But today Ron and I chose Hiko Dikobaki.
Before he dies, of course, we got to talk about him.
Yeah, we got to talk about him. And I'm sure we will talk about. Ooh, let's do this so we can see.
Yeah, see, he's got his catalytic converter right there.
Yeah,
he's the meth lord of the Jedi.
Yeah, right. So I'm sure we will talk about this guy some more, and I'm sure we'll talk about Brandon Lawson and everybody. But what are your first thoughts about him? Obviously, Mike thought he was going to die. Shocker. I think we all think he's going to die at some point, but he's a little mysterious. He's also voiced by the former Allstate commercial guy. I don't know if he still does them.
Yeah.
But I mean, what do you guys think?
I like the character. Just like any old Jedi who comes around, you want more of his backstory, especially before Order 66, to see him like roaming the Jedi Temple or something. But I did not expect him to be, I guess, the way that he is, where they're just surviving. He's begging for food. They won't even do any stealing or anything like that. But his plan has worked this far. It's a couple years since Order 66, and they've survived this long. He survived not just by himself, but with an apprentice. So that's pretty good. And then when he comes to having to step into action, he flips over that speeder pretty easily with his muffler, and he uses the floor. His force abilities are pretty strong, and then he can lift up that bridge as it starts to fall too, and then he can disappear like he's the Invisible Man. So he's pretty powerful for the most part for an old Jedi we've never met before. So first impressions, I like the guy. Just a little bit.
Well, and that was my breakdown too, pretty much, which again, I think it's funny. Me and you agree on quite a bit of these things, but I think he's powerful enough. And again, I'm still on the train that I think an Inquisitor will take him out, but he's able to, continue that almost like that Yoda style of character where he's just sort of, he's going to be passive. He's, let's not do this. Let's not get in trouble. Let's not draw any attention to us. He knows what will happen if attention starts to come around between the two of them. So, like you said, the speeder just comes around and he just drops his stick there and it goes flying. He's able to, put that whole bridge back together, with just his powers, which again, and I'm gonna steer it left a little bit. That was one of my hangups with Saul and the Acolyte. I'm like, dude, just put the bridge back together or grab both of these two girls with your force power. So obviously he's very powerful, and then he just disappears in a quick second because it was Brander Lawson, right, that was talking to him, and he's like, hey, and then boom, he's gone.
Did it twice, I think.
Yeah. Right? So I think that he is going to be a cool character, and I hope that we do get some sort of background, or what would be even more awesome is another flashback to Order 66 on what he did. That would be awesome. Those are some of my favorite, whatever you want to call them, scenes, things like that, when we get all the flashbacks of each individual person and what they saw or what they thought when Order 66 went down. And for us to get, what happened with, when we got Kanan, we got Kelleran Beck, we got, the main Order 66. So to see him in what happened with him in Order 66, I think would be really cool. I don't know if we'll get that before he gets mic'd. I mean, dead.
Let's not make that a thing.
Nope, that's in.
Already, yeah.
Where you get mic'd.
But yeah, I agree with you. I think he's a cool, interesting character, and I think he does have a lot of power. But I think he's going to get overpowered, and maybe not overpowered, but maybe surprised. And I think that's how he could possibly die by an Inquisitor.
Yeah.
Well, but you also have to think, like, in Rebels, the way that Kanan tries to get Ezra is by separating him from his master, and you got to think that was from something in the past. So if he's trying to get Devin to his side, how did that work? Well, he separated him from his master.
Yeah. Well, I'm on StarWars.com reading an article, and it has talking about like Dennis Haybert, and I guess he's a huge Star Wars fan, and that's part of like why he got the gig. And he's like, he knows Clone Wars and Rebels and Bad Batch. So like, I think it's pretty exciting that they have him on here, but like, are they going to give a guy that is a big name and who knows Star Wars that well? Are they going to kill him off pretty quickly? Mm-hmm.
Well, he made it through the first 2 episodes, so that's good.
He's made it pretty far.
Yeah,
he's got an hour of runtime. Just kill him off.
I know my Mike's just like he's on borrowed time already.
I know. Since he
Mike's
showed up on my
headcanon,
screen,
they're all dead. Everybody's dead.
My headcanon is like 200 years in the future. They're all gone.
My dad,
except for Grogu.
Mike and taxes. Oh Lord.
Oh man.
I like that a lot, actually. I'm gonna put that on a mug.
Hey, I'm gonna make that as a T-shirt. Can somebody like clip
there you
this
go.
thing, and so I'll make it a T-shirt for next week.
That is awesome.
I'm putting this in the group chat.
I have to do this real quick because I think getting mics does deserve a salute.
Yeah.
Grogu, you will never be mic'd. Don't worry about it, buddy.
Should we do a in memoriam section that Mike leads for every character that dies in Maul Shadow Lord?
Pike side character number 1. Pike side character number 2.
Yeah. Droid.
Police officer.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like Iko Dio Daki might be around longer than the next 2 episodes. Only because I do think him and Maul's approach to things and influence on Devin, who we don't even know yet. Like, we don't know Devin yet, really. She's just a part of it. And we need to get to know her a little bit more. And I think we can do that through this guy. And I think Ron is on the money with the Inquisitor kill or somebody, right? Because I think Maul is coming at her pretty calm. Like Derek said earlier, he's pretty composed and, at least by the look of things, compassionate to her situation. Despite the fact that he like hated Jedi last time we saw him. And I think Maul might have a little more hatred for this guy, her master. But I don't know if he can be the one who takes him out if he wants Devin on his side. So I don't know. I think he'll stick around simply for that relationship to like show us who she is and what she's going to be dealing with and what Maul's trying to get her to do. Because he's interesting. Like, among his powers, like his you don't even know what he wants to find her, obviously, but he's like, no, we'll just beg for food and beg for spare change. And I'm going to basically stalk this detective and disappear every time I get a chance to talk to him. Yeah. Like, what's his deal? I think we'll learn his deal, and then he'll mic.
Yeah, and then he'll mic off. No, I thought a really cool scene was when Maul and the others are about to break into the prison, and there's just a very quick shot of him, Master Iko Dio, sitting outside in the rain, just looking at the police headquarters, just waiting for his apprentice to walk out the door. So that's very much his character, though. He's just like going with the flow, laying low. Nobody will find him if they just don't make any ruffle any feathers. So that just, I think might come back to bite him in the ass when it's all said and done. I will counter your Inquisitor deaths that you guys are saying. Like, what if him and Devin and Maul have to sort of team up to fight these Inquisitors because there's two of them, and then he sort of holds his own versus an Inquisitor, but that's when Vader shows up, and to again show audiences who maybe don't know who Vader is, which would be a little crazy, but the same way if you don't know who Maul is, to just absolutely like see this guy Master Iko Dio struggle with Inquisitors and then see Vader just destroy him in 2 seconds. That would be pretty cool to see.
I think it would be cool also for Iko Dio to like be the reason that Maul and Devin get out from Vader.
Yes. Yeah.
Or even more messed up if the horrible thing, Mike, that Maul does at the end is after teaming up with him, kills him, you know, and kind of like loses Devin's faith completely. And then in true Maul Sisyphus fashion, he really would have needed him because Vader shows up and he just killed his backup and then
that would be nice.
Mopped, you know.
Well, it would answer the question. We talked, I brought this up last week, but I think it was Brad Rao, or maybe it was Matt Miknovitz, somebody who works on the show, of course, said that the relationship between Maul and Devin is not going to go the way you think.
Yeah.
And we all think it's going to be Darth Talon type, apprentice type thing. What if it's not? What if, like you said, Nick, the turn that we have for Maul is that he kills Master Iko Dio and Devin just can't deal with that. She's like, I'm not going to be with you if you're going to kill my master. So she doesn't end up with him. And this whole thing, everybody's prediction that this is going to be our Darth Talon, master and apprentice type, that's just thrown out the window. And she's only a character for the first season of the show. And then she goes off somewhere else. And Devin just becomes a new character who's off on her own.
Yeah. Maybe she becomes worse than him.
That would be crazy.
You've got these, like, you know, Iko Dio tells her, don't steal. We'll get some food. Be patient. She steals, gets arrested.
But she was doing it for him.
True. And she tells him, or he tells her, all right, just be patient. You'll get out. She's patient, gets abducted. And then Maul tells her, you can leave. Do what you got to do. That's how you're going to live in this world. And she gets out. And I just feel like I don't know. I think those two philosophies are going to get bigger in the show, and she's going to be tested constantly. Because all we know about her so far is that she's a Jedi of some sort and is impatient and knows who Maul is.
Well,
that's it.
We see characters like Ahsoka, Obi-Wan, Yoda, who all survived Order 66, who all lost everybody they know and love, and they still stay on the good side. Obi-Wan Kenobi's been through, he's gone to hell and back, and he's seen it all and is still a good guy. I'd love to see the counter of that with Devin, where she sees her master die, her whole order leave her, all this stuff happen, and she just turns to the dark side, like just full on turns because of that.
I like that. I would prefer to see it with Baylan Skoll.
Well, yeah.
Let's speaking of Baylan Skoll and Ahsoka. Is there any new news that you know about, Mike, for Ahsoka?
Out of Ahsoka season 2, there's not much. There's some Mandalorian and Grogu stuff, but not really so much.
Yeah. All right. My thing, I think, real quick with Ahsoka, I've seen a bunch of things. Just again, it's just, you know, random people talking about things and going through social media and stuff. And I'm really, as we go through, I think this Mortis Gods thing is going to be bigger than we think and that we've talked about. So I think that's a really cool thing. And this Maul show just continues to prove to us how you can watch a Star Wars brand new series and still not have to watch everything else. You can watch the originals. You can watch all of the 3 trilogies and not have to go back and watch everything else to get caught up with Maul. And I think that's what's going to be cool if this does come to fruition with the Mortis gods and even Abeloth. I think it'll be awesome to see how they explain this, because it'll be quick, but it'll be meaningful, and it'll be interesting to see how it gets explained. And that's my favorite part right now that I'm waiting for is it going to be seen through Baylan Skoll? Is it going to be seen through Ahsoka, because she has had some interaction with them? And now that we're going to get Hayden, are we going to get some of that, the Mortis gods with that? Is it going to be a flashback? Is it going to be, I don't think they're going to continue to go with the world between worlds, but it'll be interesting to see in a flashback if we get some of those episodes from Clone Wars that we saw. Are those going to be the flashbacks, especially if Hayden and Ewan are going to be in this? I think that would be really cool for us to see some of those flashbacks and how they would bring those Mortis gods to live action.
Yeah. I certainly hope, obviously, I know Ahsoka season 2 is going to be incredible, but I hope that there is a connection between all the projects this year, honestly, but Maul in particular to Ahsoka, because there's plenty of characters in this Maul Shadowlord series that could be alive still in the Mandoverse era where Ahsoka takes place, and a character that I certainly hope will show up in Maul Shadowlord and Ahsoka season 2 is Asajj Ventress, because she has plenty of connections to Ahsoka Tano, and she's probably top of my list of cameos for Maul Shadowlord, which would be nice. So
another character I could see showing up in Maul would be Jod, Jude Law's character from Skeleton, because for a lot of reasons, the age fits, like it's close. That's placed after Return of the Jedi. So he could be younger. Maybe he was a Padawan and he was hiding and became a pirate or whatever. And so like him crossing paths with Maul in the series could really happen.
Well, actually, now that you mentioned that, you got my brain turning. You got my gears shifting. We got a little bit of folks. We got a little bit of a backstory for Jod, didn't we? Because he said that he was trained for like a couple weeks from some random Jedi who was passing by. What?
And he said she was haggard.
Yeah, and then she was killed. She was mic'd, if you will. No, but obviously, I certainly hope that the character in reference here is not Devon Izara, but what if it is? I mean, that would be pretty wild if Devon was the one who, because Jod, he said he grew up like in the hole in the ground or whatever he says. I forget what he said. But and then he comes across a Jedi who trains him for a couple weeks or a couple months or whatever it was, and then dies. So maybe it's Devon Izara. That would be crazy. That would be wild. But I like it.
Yeah. That would be pretty cool.
And then we could tie it in with, at
Skeleton Crew season 2. Yeah, Skeleton Crew season 2.
Exactly. All right. So if you wouldn't mind, if you're cool with that, Mike, would you want to share some Mando and Grogu news?
I'm so excited. Okay, so first little bit of tidbit thing here is the Galaxy of Heroes video game. I think it's a mobile game, but I'm not too sure. I've never played it. They just added a brand new character as of today, and that, or maybe hasn't come out yet. No, available now. Okay, came out today, and that is Cobb Vanth from The Mandalorian season 2, and I guess Book of Boba Fett, I suppose. Cobb Vanth, a character who's been on very many people's minds because he could be in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, as we last saw him in the Book of Boba Fett in a back to tank after he got gunned down by Cad frickin' Bane. Oh my God, that show is so good. But that was a little bit of a cool thing right there. The other thing was the Mandalorian visual guidebook was released in the UK. It doesn't release in the US for like another month and a half, which is weird to me. But it was released in the UK, and it's just a Mandalorian guidebook, not the Mandalorian and Grogu. So it has very few references to the actual movie, but it does give us 3 Mandalorians who are in season 1 of The Mandalorian. So cast your mind back to Navarro when Din Djarin has to escape, and the covert of Mandalorians help him escape. All those Mandalorians, we got names to them, and 3 of them are direct references to clans of Mandalorians from the Old Republic games. Old Republic, Knights of the Old Republic 2, and I believe the RPG Old Republic game. So some pretty crazy references there. There's even some references to Bloodline in the visual dictionary, visual journal, whatever it's called, visual guide. And the Armorer. So the Armorer, a lot of people are predicting is going to be Rook cast, and I certainly hope by the end of Maul's run, we see the two split up because Maul's by himself in Rebels, and we see where Rook cast goes. And there is a little bit of a reference to that being a possibility, a tease towards it, not really a confirmation, but a tease nonetheless. So for those people holding out hope that that's the truth, that this character is in fact Rook cast in The Mandalorian, then there's a little bit to a little feather in your cap for that. The other thing was The Mandalorian and Grogu is going to be the main center event at CinemaCon, which is on the 16th, so in about 8 days. So when CinemaCon comes around, Jon Favreau will be there, and a big part of the entire event is going to be the big title thing will be The Mandalorian and Grogu. Yeah, that's the Armorer right there. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. So I certainly hope it's Rook cast. It would be a pretty cool tie-in there, specifically to the character of Din Djarin. But yeah, and then there was a little bit of a new teaser thing of a behind-the-scenes trailer that came out for Mandalorian and Grogu today. That's just Jon Favreau talking about his Star Wars experience and wanting to bring all those creatures and droids to life. And this movie is doing stop motion. They're doing practical effects, and they're just going all out. So and a couple new scenes in that trailer as well. So.
Well, and you have Luke Skywalker himself saying that he approves of the
Dave
direction.
Filoni, yeah.
It's like, ooh, tell me more. Like
that's because he's in it and he's excited about it.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think that's my big thing. Let me put it up here. Cobb Vanth. I think that would be so cool to get him back. They didn't put him in Bacta just because.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So that's the main thing. And they don't do these things just because. Everything that we got coming out, there's a reason behind it. Like you said, Mike, with yesterday with Cad Bane, with Asajj and the Tales of the Underworld. And where are we in Maul? We're in the Underworld. So
yeah.
They're not just doing these things. They're not putting these characters on, into toys and different things. They're not making lightsabers just for the heck of it. They're not going to kill off, Devin because we just got a lightsaber. We're gonna see Mara Jade at some point. Well, why are you going to make a lightsaber for her? I mean, she's a canon character. I mean, a Legends character right now.
I just 3D printed her lightsaber yesterday.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's pretty awesome. So welcome, Tim. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Well, I just sent the link to that thing. I don't know if you can pull it up through that, but definitely pull up that Mando trailer because it's like how long is it? Maybe a minute long? Minute 25 long, 24. And it's pretty cool. But so Mandalorian and Grogu, of course, is going to get a little bit buried over the next 4 weeks just because of Maul. But I'm sure they're going to release more trailers like this and a lot of promotional stuff for this movie that can't really be lost in the sauce. One cool little Maul Shadow Lord thing I did see too is the alien chick that Brandon Lawson goes to see in episode 2 when he's getting the information about the Shadow Collective and stuff. Her name is Sol or something.
Mm-hmm.
She is voiced by Pamela Adlon, who is the mom of the voice of Devon Izara, Gideon Adlon, which is pretty cool. So
that's pretty awesome. Derek, are you able to pull that up? That video he sent us?
Oh, probably.
It's actually pretty cool. There's a bunch of they show the stop action and stuff and some of the the different beings. So if you
And
guys,
some new scenes too,
All
and
right,
new droids.
let me see what I can do.
Okay.
Hold
Work that
on.
magic. Work that magic.
I'll figure it out. I'm sure. Okay,
Somebody
here we
start playing Duel of the Fates right now.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Jacob does a pretty good job of that. All right.
There we go. Hold on.
I don't know if
We
you'll
can
get
do-
audio or not, but we'll try.
We don't need audio. Oh, we got audio.
It's always been about creatures. And I think it dates back to when I saw it when I was a kid. It all felt unified in this world, made the world even more compelling.
Hey, never touch the buttons.
We really wanted to bring an assortment of droids and creatures to this movie.
Are you scared? You should be.
I could get a little emotional talking about Grogu. That deep emotional connection exists in the way that the original Star Wars characters existed for me as a kid.
He's slowly coming of age, finding his own power.
I like this kid.
All I see is his little face. You cannot but fall in love with that little face.
We have Grogu, we have Anzellans again.
Good shot, baby.
No!
We're embracing a lot of tradition, bringing in all sorts of creative disciplines.
Close for the night. Thank you.
You use all of these techniques to ground things, to make you feel like you're in a real place with real characters, even though you've never seen these creatures or these droids before. It all works together, and Star Wars is unique for that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That thing's
And
pretty
he
awesome.
nails it right there. I mean, that's what Star Wars is about.
Yeah.
Nothing's out of the ordinary when you see a hammerhead walk through, or any species. It's just normal tracking in that universe, and it all looks so good, and it looked good 49 years ago, which
Yeah.
is so cool, and all they've done is just brought it into the future and made it look even better. So that's what I think that this man, and again, like me and Derek have said, $2 billion. This is going to be a game
Gonna
changer.
get it. They're gonna get it. I
It's
know
gonna
it.
be a game changer for this. Oops, sorry. I'm trying to scroll up. But yeah, it's definitely a game changer, and for John to come on and talk about that. And I think the one before that, from last week, he wants that feeling that he had when he sat in the theater for the first time and watched Star Wars. And this just emphasizes that and what he can do. And like we all know, I mean, that first Iron Man movie and everything that he's done since then, he's so dedicated to the story, and that he loves Star Wars that much. That's what I think is exciting about what him and Dave are going to do in this movie. And everything that we've seen so far has been, incredible. And these are the things that just promote that and bring it to fruition. So in a month and a half, we're just going to be, goosebumps and hair standing up on the back of your head and screaming, and in the theater, which is going to be awesome. And after we get 5 weeks of Maul Shadow Lord.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, what's funny to me is every time I think about like them sitting in this room and coming up with all of these storylines that connect, like this one connects here. All I can think of is Charlie from Always Sunny doing Pepe Silva. Like, if you don't know what that reference is, look it up, because you'll get it. Like how are they keeping this
Everyone's
stuff
seen
straight?
it before, probably.
Totally.
Yeah.
Like they've got this big board up there that's just like yarn and lines drawn all over, and they're just trying to figure out like, hey, how can we connect these people? So I think it's incredible what they're doing. I think it's so like it just has expanded so much from the original concept of Star Wars, but yet still the original concept of Star Wars.
Yeah, for sure. Which is pretty freaking cool. Man, we're at an hour 45, hour 44 already. I was like, 10 minutes in, I was like, well, this is going to be a little bit longer than, a little long. But everything that we have that's coming out is awesome, and this Maul series just adds to that. And I think that I think the four of us and probably everybody on this chat expected that it was going to be good. If you thought it's going to be better than you thought it was going to be, that's awesome. And I think that's what some of these other things are going to be. And as we go on with Maul, it's just going to get better and better. We're going to see more cameos, and we're going to see this story start to unfold. And having a second year in this already is just makes it better. And then as the Mandalorian and Grogu comes out, and we get to get more of this Star Wars stuff, and then Ahsoka. So, like we talked about a few weeks ago, is 2026 one of, or if not the best year for Star Wars at this point? Back to the thumbnail for today. The hype, I think, is incredible, and I really like this, and Maul's one of my favorite characters, but to compare it to Andor, I'm like, whew, that's tough, I think, because Andor was so amazing this past year, or I guess last year now, but to bring it into that, I mean, they're just going on and on with this stuff, and that's what I love about Star Wars, and we're continuing to do that with Maul, and I think it's a different comparison with the animation and live action, and even with the movies, as we're going to see in a month and a half with Mandalorian and Grogu. So there's just nothing but good stuff coming this year for all of us to talk about. And Mike gets to stay up late and do all his stuff.
That's your job, though. It's great. See, like, I mean,
It's the greatest job in the world.
Yeah.
I know. Would you have thought, like, would anybody think even 20 years ago that you could make a living talking about Star Wars? Internet, like, incredible.
Can I answer that first? 20 years ago, I was 3, so no, I didn't think that at all.
Yeah.
Hey, well, we've got haters that'll watch this later that think you are much older, so it's totally fine. 4 guys over 40 that are sitting here talking about a show made for 12-year-olds. You're out here watching. Thanks for the algorithm
Catch
boost.
the strays out here.
Yeah.
Me and Mike are.
Larry
Yeah,
Mitchell, welcome. Thank you
What's
so
up,
much
Larry?
for joining us.
I'd rather be 40 than
Yeah.
I guess 41.
Mike.
Yeah, I'd rather be 40 than Mike.
Yeah, 40 than Mike. Exactly.
Every day above ground and not Mike.
Yeah.
You're good.
Yeah. Problem is I am Mike, and I just paid taxes. So what am I doing?
You're covered.
Yeah.
I'm covered.
You're good.
The Dave that loves Star Wars, I was going to mention this. If you guys don't know already, Mike is over 200,000 followers. And I mean, that's just, it's awesome. I mean, it's so cool. It gives me goosebumps just knowing you now and becoming friends and doing this. It's so cool, dude. Yeah.
Look at that.
guy.
It's just
Well,
Well,
a
it's
second one
amazing.
now.
Yeah, I know.
but he does a great job. Again, even here, we're always positive about this. There's no negativity about it. It's just all good stuff. And Mike brings such a different perspective, I think, than a lot of the other content creators that do Star Wars stuff. And not to take anything away from them, but for him to sit there and talk about Star Wars for 6 hours a week and then come on here and talk with us about it, loving the interaction and the amount of knowledge that he has, the amount of knowledge that he gets throughout the day to do his things, to get up and have a watch party at 3 a.m. his time, 2 a.m., just different times and stuff like that, and then come up with a the breakdown of that video the same day. If you guys are on here and haven't gone over and watched him Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, and then there's shorts almost every day that he does that are phenomenal. So check it out, and it's a pleasure to have you on here with us. But it's such a cool accomplishment. So congratulations on that, Mike. 200,000.
Thank you. Yeah, no, the worst thing in the world is getting complimented. I love it. No, I appreciate it.
Give me more. All your compliments.
No, it is very generous. I appreciate it. It's not until somebody says, "Oh, you stream 6 hours a week," till it sets in. Like, oh my god, I talk about Star Wars 6 hours a week. But it is like the dream. It truly is. And could not thank you guys enough for having me on this stream every single week. I don't know how I got a recurring role here. I mean, this was this was the diamond in the rough.
8
I
hours
found
a
it.
week. 8
I
hours a week
know.
minimum.
Yeah, we might as well put this channel to going 3 times a week so I can go 6 times a week.
I don't
but-
have that kind of time.
Yeah,
Now there are 2 of them.
yes,
That's pretty good.
but yeah, it is pretty wild. It's insanity. I don't understand it. I can't fathom up that many amount of people. It doesn't make sense at all, and I will never understand it. But here we are.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, it's such a fun podcast. Even I missed it yesterday, but while I was working out and straightening up the room here a little bit more, just putting it on and listening to, the comments from other people and the positivity that you bring and the knowledge that you bring to that your show and our show is very much appreciated. So, and I know you got a little emotional the other day, which was pretty awesome. So, very, very, very well deserved. So.
Thank you. Yes, no, we are just 4 guys over 40 talking, claiming we know all about Star Wars, of course.
Right.
Yes.
That was
Made for 12-year-olds.
Yeah, made for 12-year-olds.
Yep.
Jeez.
No. So, any final thoughts or predictions for this for next 3 and 4?
Yeah.
I
I think we're gonna get the Pikes, and I think we're going to get just a taste of Crimson Dawn.
Okay.
love it.
Mike?
Well, yeah, no, I think we're getting the Pikes for sure. I maybe our Pike leader Krem is going to die. I don't know if he might last a little bit longer than that, but a lot of Pikes will die next week. I've foretold it. A lot of Pikes will die. I wonder if next week will be the week we see Inquisitors. I think we'll see Stormtroopers in the Empire and maybe a Star Destroyer over Janix, but Inquisitors maybe not in these 2 episodes, maybe saved for 5 and 6.
Yeah, that's my my prediction. I think that's how we will end 3 and 4, or 4 obviously, with a little bit of a cliffhanger and possibly we get to see an Inquisitor step in, and then we cut to next week, which would be great, but it would also be I would want let's just I don't want to wait a week. I want to keep going. I want to find out what's going on. But yeah, I think we will see the Pikes pretty much get decimated as we've seen in some of the trailers that have come out, which are going to be fantastic. When he takes over, what was it? Crimson, not Crimson Dawn. Who does he cut all the heads off of?
Oh, the Black Sun.
Yeah. So, that's already happened. So, is there any more Black Sun out there or not?
Yes,
there is.
Yeah.
Okay.
He just kills like the leaders or almost all the leaders.
Yeah. Okay. So, but yeah, I think we will definitely see the Pikes go down, and hopefully we will get at least the tease of Inquisitors. But I think you're right, Mike. I think we might see some of the Empire start to roll in as well. I don't think that Eco Dio will die next week. I think it'll probably be in 5 or 6, because that'll sort of be halfway where, because we're still building this story. As much as they're telling us and as much as we and everybody here knows already, we're still telling a little bit of the story and some of these characters coming up. So I think we're going to have a little bit more of that before we, kill off not a main character, but an important character like that right away. So, Nick?
Yeah, I'm pretty much in agreement with everything you guys said. I think maybe we'll get like a step past like where we've gotten the Empire already as like a mention. Like, should we call the Empire? Should we call them or whatever? Maul. Everybody mentions the Empire. I think we'll get maybe not a huge presence, but we'll get the Empire in some way. And then I think we'll start to get to know Devin. Whether that's for real or just like from a certain point of view. I think we'll get to know where Maul's at from his point of view. Where he sees himself now. But I think we'll get to know Devin a little bit more, because at this point, we know, about as little about her as we did going into it. So
Yeah.
I think now is the time. And I agree with Ron. I don't think her master is going to die this round. I think we start seeing the real story unfold after this round. I think we leave episode 4 with a different direction. I think he's gonna take out the Pikes, and we're gonna kind of get into the weeds of what this show is gonna actually turn out to be, and the things that it will kind of bloom from for season 2. Not to mention, like, I don't know what episode it falls on, but I think whatever episode lines up a week before The Mandalorian and Grogu will be the most connected to The Mandalorian and Grogu. So, I'm interested to see what that is. I'm with Derek. I think it has something to do with the Hutts, or the separation there. Because by the end of Solo, we know that Maul's syndicate is not involved with Jabba, because Han's like, I'm just going to go work for this Jabba guy that I've heard about.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be something like that. But I don't think it'll just all be Maul Tezuma's revenge on everybody. I think it'll just be, after this round, we're going to get into a new sort of perspective on the show.
Yeah, and I just want to say before we get on out of here about the 100% that it has on Rotten Tomatoes, that is from critics who have seen the first 8 episodes. So that's not just the first 2 episodes, that's the first 8. And they have not seen the last 2, which are probably the most important, the finale and the episode titled Strange Allies. But they have not seen the last 2, but that is not just first 2 episodes. This is a 100 out of 100. That's the first 8. So fans are like, oh, this might fall off. It's not. We're good.
It's only going to get better.
Yeah, and the fans are at what, 96 or something like that already, just for the first 2 episodes. So again, I think it's either it's gonna stay the same, or it's gonna go up, from here, as all 4 of us and everybody here on the chat, I'm sure, thinks that this is just gonna get better and continue to astound us and just bring joy to us each Sunday night, Monday morning at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. So,
oh yeah.
But this was a great show. Thank you, everybody, for being on here. We had a lot of people on tonight. Thank you for all your comments. Appreciate you guys congratulating Mike. We appreciate you guys putting your chats in here so that we get to talk to you guys about some of these things and making us laugh and have fun things going on. So tomorrow again, Mike, 2:00 Eastern time, will be on, A Guy Who Loves Star Wars. We will be back next Wednesday. Make sure, are you going to do another watch party, Mike? Okay. So if you guys want to get up in the morning and do that, go check it out. I'm sure he'll have some thumbnails up there for that. And it's fun. If you haven't done the watch parties before, I know it is early, but if we go on to some of these other ones in Ahsoka later on in the year, they're really fun to just watch with other Star Wars fans, and you get to sit at home and, Mike will make some little comments and stuff, which is cool. And everybody gets to put their comments in as the show's going on. So those are fun to do if you haven't done those yet. But we'll be back here next Wednesday talking about episodes 3 and 4 of Maul Shadow Lord. Nick, Derek, and Mike, thank you guys so much for being here. Appreciate you guys always showing up for us. And if you haven't yet, please like, subscribe, share this with your friends, and we will see you guys next week on Star Wars Jedi Chat. May the Force be with you.